So I received a comment recently from somebody named Black Lotus, and I started thinking, Black Lotus, that's an idea. So let's go ahead and try that today. Now, as always, it's a 100% cotton t-shirt that's been soaked in soda ash for at least 20 minutes and then spun in the washing machine until it's just damp. I'm going to go ahead and turn this inside out and flip the... and do the usual. So I need to go ahead and mark the center. Let's see. Alright, take this. Oh, that slipped. Now the design's only going to be on the front, but I'm still going to slip the sleeves inside each other so that the rest of the pattern flows properly, symmetrical. If you don't do this, one sleeve is going to look quite a bit different than the other. And it also gets rid of that weird bulge that happens on the back of the shirt around this area. Alright, that didn't slip in right. There we go. Alright, I just need to find my starting point. I'm going to pick, I don't know, I'm going to go 3/5 or so from the bottom. I don't really like them dead center, and 2/3 up is a little high, so we'll call this 3/5. I'm not going to actually measure it. Somebody might. Alright, so let's go ahead and split this up to do the pattern. So fold that onto the line. Fold this back. I'm going to go ahead and fold this back again before flipping it over. And keeping this all lined up when you do this is kind of difficult at times. So since this is basically just a demonstration to see if this is doable, as far as doing a Black Lotus, I'm not too concerned about keeping it perfect. Alright, so I've got that, and now you can split this. Do one more airplane fold here. Well, something slipped. What slipped? There we go. Alright, so that's what that looks like, and we've got that on the other side. Now I'm asked quite a bit if this can be done with something other than hemostats, or if you can use straight hemostats. And you can, but it doesn't really work as well. So these are 8-inch curved hemostats. You can pick up a dozen of these on eBay. I'll try to put the name of the suggested person to purchase from down at the bottom of the screen. And they're good quality. And you can pick up a dozen for, I don't know, what was it? Maybe 30 bucks. Maybe less. So what we do to start, actually I prefer to start from this side. Like that. As you get further down, there's a tendency for the hemostats to pop off. If you haven't seen this in any of my videos, when they do, they can get quite a bit of air, so honestly you might want to wear safety glasses when you do this. And if you get hit in the face with it, it's not going to be pleasant if it hits an eye. Alright, so I just work this back and forth. Trying to keep everything parallel as much as possible as I'm going. And trying to make sure it bites into, or close to, all the way against the hemostat on each side. I think I've got 10 or 12 sitting right here. Looks like they weren't washed off perfectly the last time. Luckily looks like it's black that's coming off, so it won't affect the design. And try to seat those. If you heard that, it actually snapped when it locked completely. That should keep it from flying up in your face. Alright, so last one. And it looks like I've used 10 for this. Not sure you could go much further on a large shirt. XL you probably could, and anything larger than that. But we'll go ahead and stop there. Now I'm going to do something different than I normally do on the Lotus, and that is going to try to add some sinew to this. There's quite a bit of thought behind, should I do this before I put the hemostats or after, and I don't know. This might have been a really bad idea. Anyway, I'm doing the same basic thing that I normally do when adding sinew to the tip. And the only reason I'm doing this is that this is going to be black, so I want to make sure there's, for lack of a better word, some texture to it, and it's not just a solid black central disc, since that wouldn't really fit the design. Alright, so that is not sticking well right there. So I'm actually going to pull this back over itself. I wouldn't normally do that because it makes it really difficult to untie later. but I think it's the best option to keep it from coming loose. Alright, so all that's done. Let's try this again. But you can't really crumple something that large. Right, I'm going to use a rubber band to hold this in place. Or two. Then, let's see about adding sinew over it. And I'm intentionally being sloppy with the sinew. So that it's more like a crumpled rubber band design. See if I can get this a little bit lower on here. As you can see, I'm not even going over my own sinew on a lot of this. All right. Give myself enough. Loop that over something. I guess I could just tie it to that. Let's do a loose tie. And then cut that off. Sorry, headphones, guys. Alright, so this should be ready to go. Alright, the colors I'm using for this are from Custom Colors. I'm using dark black. And I've got both the powdered version and I've made up a thickened liquid. I thicken with guar gum, and one day I'll actually make a video that shows the process to thicken it. The rest of the colors are from Dharma, so I'm using cobalt blue, and those are the two colors that are being used for the entire Lotus. For the background, I am using bright green, new emerald green, and forest green. This is all a best guess, so we'll see how this turns out. Alright, the thickened black I'm using for the tip, and this is still considered the tip because it's still part of this. And then the top ridge, the curved part on the inside for each of these. And it's just a small amount that I'm using, so I'm actually going to apply this with a syringe. So I'm going to start by pouring some of the thickened black into a cup. And this isn't super thick. This is still pretty thin because there's a lot of layers that it needs to go through. And set this somewhere so I don't tip it over, which I'm not sure a place like that exists. And then just use the syringe for the placement of the black. Again, this part here isn't too sensitive. Probably could have used the bottle. But the rest of these, I'm going to try and just do that each time. Alright. And then I'm going to use cobalt blue. Apply that pretty liberally over the entire thing. Now, since this is a large area here, it has a really bad tendency of when you apply the ice here for it to seep down in. So I'm not going to apply dye much past right about here, and hopefully it won't intrude on the actual Lotus. Although with the black applied there as a thickened dye, it shouldn't be able to penetrate too far. I'm going to go ahead and apply the bright green first. I'm going to use that to actually define that line. See, and I said I'm not going to go any further, but yeah, you saw what happened. It shouldn't affect it. I'm mostly covering it, but I am still going to leave a few spots to where just the other dyes can be. And as usual, I'm working my way from lightest to darkest. And if it doesn't come down enough with the ice, then when we do the second side, I'll go ahead and add some closer to it, since it should be flatter on the second side. Alright, I think I'll go with that. Let the ice... Oh, I forgot. That would have been bad. Completely forget to ice this. Alright, I'm just going to do a single layer across those. And I shouldn't have to worry about this too much. I'm going to go ahead and do one, simply because there is dye right there. This one I might do a second. Yeah, let's push this one down. Move this guy up here. We'll do one more right there. That's probably going to bleed through into the white. Alright, let that sit until it melts through. We'll take a look and flip it over and decide what to do based on what the front side looks like. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and flip it even though there's still ice up here, because I added some extra ice and I have something I need to do and I want to get this done first. So when this is washed out and there's a giant space of white that's there that I didn't want, I only have myself to blame for not being patient. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip this over. I think I'm going to take this aluminum foil out first. And look, I'm actually wearing gloves. Right. So let's see if I can flip this without hemostats coming flying off on me. See, I didn't say do it without getting dye on the table, because that happened again. At least it's a small amount. Alright. And if you're thinking he's awfully chatty and talking much faster in this video, he had a surgical procedure yesterday, and I still have quite a few steroids on board, so I'm a little hyper. Alright, so to finish this off, I'm going to, well, I should go ahead and do the black on the inside like everything else, and as you can see, it isn't there, but there is some there. So it came through on the lower, thinner sections. I'm still going to go ahead and do probably just a single pass, and then we'll go ahead and do the rest of the dye. So let's do that. This, I'm kind of torn between adding blue or just adding black, and I think I'm just going to go with the black. Man, I'm really torn. I don't think I'm just going to add black. I think I'm going to add powder. And the reason I'm doing that is to get just a bit of variation in this black, so that there's like some gray and not just the white where the sinew is. And I don't even know if I'm going to put ice on this. I might just let it absorb in. Alright, so back to this, and I'll go ahead and apply all this black. It is wet, so it basically soaks everywhere. So that's why I'm only doing a single. And then I'm coming back in with the cobalt blue. So you can see there's quite a bit of fill of the black. We'll just go over the whole thing with the cobalt. Actually, this down here looks fully saturated with water. As you can see, there's quite a bit that bled up. That's probably going to stay that way. We'll just call those like little feathered petals or something. Alright, so I'm going to go in mostly with the bright green to keep it a lighter color. And as long as I stay before that line, it shouldn't bleed down too much. You can see the blue coming up, or you might be able to see the blue in the video. And that is from the dark black. It bleeds blue, which I plan to use intentionally in an upcoming video. Alright, so it's mostly covered in bright green. Then I think I'm just going to come in with some forest and not even mess with the emerald. Primarily because the emerald contains turquoise, and I don't need any more blue bleeding in anywhere. Alright, I think I will stop. How far? Wherever I go, it's going to end up dropping too far. That's just the nature of the beast when doing the ice dye. Alright, I'm going to come back with a little bit of bright green for that little section right there. Let's see if I can't get quite a bit right there. Add in the ice. I don't think I can even get any right there. Let's try a thin piece. Maybe it'll stick enough. Yeah. And then add down here. And since it's already bleeding so much, or not bleeding, but it's fully saturated with water, I'm just gonna run that down the center. And that'll flow into the little bit of dark black powder that's there too. Alright, so I'll let this sit. Probably give it a total of 18 to 24 hours from this point. The last cycle, or from the first side, it took maybe an hour and a half for the ice to melt, so I'm not looking at that much extra time for the ice to melt before it starts batching. So we'll let it sit and we'll do the washout. Alright, it's been about 18 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and start the washout. Be sure to leave the hemostats on until you wash out completely with the cold water, so that you aren't causing any dye to bind in the white lines. Alright, let's take a look at this. There's the front, and there's the back. And I'll go ahead and wash this out, and we'll see what it looks like, because it should lighten up some from this.